Hello.
Hey, I'm
How are
great.
you? Are
I'm
you
great,
well?
thanks. How are you doing?
Oh no,
Yes,
I'm
all
alright.
good.
I'm alright. Busy day?
I feel like the lockdown days seem to be a lot busier than the non-lockdown days. So yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's been
and more productive. My creative team is pumping, like I seem to get more productivity from the creative team, which is pretty interesting. I think some guys are not really built for the office.
yeah, I think that way. I also think that abnormal circumstances make you think about the world slightly differently, right? So maybe that's where
Yeah,
the creativity is coming from.
yeah, yeah. And I think I guess there's opportunity there and stuff. So thank you for joining us. So this is a platform for creatives, people in the industry, to just chat. We get to know each other. We get to know your views on where the industry is going, and a lot of young people and old people and people running businesses join us, and they benefit from these types of conversations. So maybe let's start from the beginning. Silke, who are you? Where do you come from? Let's take it straight from the beginning, from the source.
Yeah, look, I mean, my name's Silke. I'm currently the Lite brand director for Africa. So
Yep.
not just South Africa, all 11 markets that we're in, which is probably the best job in the world. If I say so
Wow.
myself, I get to work on some pretty epic stuff. And I work with amazing people. So I really do
Wow.
love what I do. Yeah, and I mean, my background, I grew up in a very small town, called Bronkhorstspruit. So that's where I came from. But I
And,
think
and
that
where is this
that
small
really,
town? I know South
yeah,
Africa very well.
it's between Pretoria and Witbank, so it's there. It used to be a farming community, but there's lots of mines around there now.
Okay.
So that's where I grew up, and my parents owned a bar and a restaurant. So I've been quite
Nice.
entrenched in the hospitality industry and alcohols for a very long time. Yeah, and then from there I carried on and I studied marketing. Finished my master's degree in marketing as well because that's where my passion
Okay.
lies.
All right.
And then got pulled into SAB from a very young age. So I was 24 and I was appointed in the sales department. So I worked my way up through the ranks for the
Wow.
last 11 years, and now I'm here. Yeah.
Wow.
So born and bred SAB baby at the moment.
Wow. And why the love for marketing? I mean, was there other options, or you just always knew, even maybe from high school, that this is what I want to do?
Look, I mean, I think there were lots of things that I wanted to do and lots of dreams that I wanted to pursue, but they were all pulling in different directions. So I really
Yeah.
loved science and maths, but I also really loved being creative. So it was quite difficult for me to kind of bring the two together. And I guess where the penny dropped for me when it came to marketing, I did know that's what I wanted to do, which is why I just
Yeah.
went ahead and studied but
Yeah.
was that I saw the impact that can have on society, right? So like how that
Yeah.
shift can shape cultural norms and how people choose
Yeah.
to view the world. And I'm really passionate about that stuff, and I'm passionate about understanding consumer behavior and
Wow.
using that insight to drive a better world for everyone, So whether and that doesn't always have to be deep and meaningful. Sometimes it's just putting a smile
This
on
is just
someone's face.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. And then your journey in, so you came at the days where it was still SAB, right?
yes, yeah.
And
I
how were those days, and how have you transitioned? I know there's been a lot of change. Take us back from the 24-year-old self and how you were marketing to South Africa to the changes. I mean, now you're a global company. What are the dynamics there?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's different, but it's still similar. And I think
Yeah,
that what underpins both businesses or the culture in both companies is the love for beer. The love
yeah,
for beer and putting our consumers at the center of what we do. So yeah, the consumer is king, and at SAB the consumer was king as well. So from that
yeah.
perspective and a marketing perspective, not much has changed. What
Okay.
I can say about AB InBev, and I mean SAB Miller was also a global company and a phenomenal business.
Yeah.
But the AB InBev culture is slightly differently. It's very much focused on efficiencies, how to
Mm,
make your money work for you, a lot of measurements and KPIs. And that's where the science in marketing is. Everyone thinks that marketing is just doing pretty things, but it's not. There's a
yeah.
lot of science behind it, and you have to kind of prove to the business that you're spending the money the right way. And that's been really nice. It's challenging,
Yeah.
but it's really good and it's really interesting. And I think that's very different. But it is a South American business, a lot of Brazilian people in the company with us, and I find the Brazilian culture very similar to the South African culture, like
Nice.
extremely passionate,
Uh,
passionate, go-getters, love what you do, sense of ownership. So it hasn't really been that big of a shift for me personally, but at the end of the day, it's also what you make of it, right? And
Definitely. So now, Silke, all these plans, right? We start off 2020 with all these brand visions, what we're going to do. Everything is planned out until COVID, right? We wake up
mm.
one day and the world has changed. How has that been for you? From all the plans for the rest of the year to your brand planning to all the science, as you say, that you've put in, and then COVID hits. How did you react to that personally, and how do you start navigating this new world for your brand, especially since alcohol got hit even more directly because it was a cut of alcohol. So how do you deal with that as the brand custodian of Costa Light?
Yeah, look, I mean, from a personal perspective, I guess that we all kind of went through the same things. There's everyone feels things differently, but you go through the same phases.
Yeah,
And what I try to do is I try to make sure that I keep very close to consumers, to people, right? By focusing on where are we? Are you in the kind of acceptance phase, the denial phase, anger phase? And that
yeah,
the content that we create is something that you can resonate with, and not something that I'm irritating people with. And
yeah,
I think that that's really what sets us apart from a lot of the stuff that I did see come out of COVID, was that we really did try to stay close to how people were feeling, and
yeah,
decided when to speak based on that and what to say based on that. And it has been tough. I think it's been really tough, and maybe worse for some people than others based on your ability to adapt to change.
yeah,
But what I really enjoyed seeing come out of COVID was our ability to stand together as people, right?
yeah,
And also the agility in teams coming through. We always speak about being more agile,
yeah.
and working faster. But sometimes the processes in big companies don't allow for that.
Mm,
And I think that COVID forced us. It forced you to get into a complete new way of thinking, a new way of doing things, and a new way of connecting with your team. And I always,
mm,
and you know this based on the position that you're in now as well. But when you are in charge of people and how they feel coming to work, you don't really have space to have feelings, right? Like I
yeah,
can't wake up today and be negative because I have to be in my house. Like my
mm,
main priority is to make sure that my team is engaged, because I deliver through my
mm,
team. I don't
mm.
deliver, they deliver, and I deliver through them. So that's been really interesting for me to kind of flex that muscle and see how far I can push
Yeah.
people and keep them motivated, and I've been really inspired by that.
And how do you do that? I mean, I've seen a lot of dynamics, just because of our teams come from such diverse backgrounds, So jumping on a Zoom call to like maybe the leadership of the organization is totally different to someone maybe experiencing a different lifestyle, a different maybe location. Maybe the household has got more than
Mm.
its capacity, so it's not as easy as, okay, guys, let's just jump on a Zoom call. How have you navigated that cultural difference, that location difference, that in your team, from maybe the senior people that might be living in like your gated communities to the guy in the township, and manage to unify the team through that? Because I think a lot of leaders have had very tough times in understanding the reality of the living conditions of their team. Which how have you navigated that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that it depends probably on what type of leader you are, right? But my
Yeah.
philosophy has always been one around building dream teams. So I don't hire people based on culture fit, which a lot of organizations do. I
Okay.
hire people based on difference, right? And what are you bringing into the team that other people might not necessarily have as a skill set or as an understanding? So, like you said, we all have different backgrounds and different realities, and that's where great work comes from, because you unify lots of different perspectives.
Yeah.
So I think that as someone that views the world in that way, it's a little bit easier for me probably. But what I can tell you, what works really well, I have daily check-ins with my team every day. And I
Okay.
make sure that half of those conversations are not about, so like we will sit and I'll ask, okay, cool, we're going to go around. Tell me what you watched last night, what you ate last night, what was
Nice.
your most favorite thing out of the weekend, what are you looking forward to
Nice.
this week? And everyone can then share their own experience. And then what
Nice.
that does is it brings everyone together in a feeling versus, highlighting the differences between people in the team. It unites based on kind of what are you looking forward to, or what was something nice you did this weekend. So it immediately takes you out of like we are all different into a space of let's all come together in the same
Mm,
feeling and the same dynamic that we want out of the call. And
mm,
that's worked really well, and I make sure that my team feels like a family.
yeah.
It's important to say, are you okay today, and how are you feeling? And
Yeah.
and sometimes people get that because it's so stressful, but it's not.
Yeah.
That's not how people perform, especially in times
Yeah.
like this. You want to feel like someone's looking out for you.
I'm really particularly interested in that. So, as an agency, we've gone for diversity as our strength. But the reality is, when you have a lot of diverse people in your team, there is also potential for conflict because some of the differences and understanding. And how do you manage those team dynamics where the people are so different that you now, as a leader, need to unify them? How do you deal with conflict in a diverse team?
Look, I mean, I think that if you are able to create an environment where people feel that they have a voice, and
Yeah.
that we all respect each other's opinions, it does diminish that slightly. But there will always be conflict because in our field, like agency marketing, it doesn't matter, or client, there's a lot of ambitious people, right? And people are
Yeah.
really, they're passionate about their opinions and they want you to listen to them, and they've got ideas, and now you must like kind of kit and glove around the ideas because you don't want to break someone's confidence.
Yeah.
But if you create an environment where people respect other people's opinions,
Yeah.
it's much
Yeah.
easier to have open and honest conversations and to have vulnerable conversations. And sometimes
Mm,
it will experiment, the pressure's high, but I guess what I leave with my team is that it's not personal, and I guess
yeah.
that's something that's really difficult to manage with, especially with creative people, is that we do feel like it's personal, but it really isn't.
Mm,
It's not personal.
mm,
It's ideas, and you have an opinion and I have an opinion, and let's talk about it, but it's not a personal thing. And if you manage to
yeah.
get that sort of culture cultivated in your agency and with your team, the world's your oyster. As soon as people feel
Mm,
safe to raise their voices and lean into conversations, that's when the best work will come to the table.
yeah. Yeah. Now you've also got a different dynamic because you're not only in charge of South Africa, you're in charge of Africa. Now that's
Mm.
like a whole new world. How do you navigate that? Because I remember at the beginning of South African brands and agencies going into the rest of the continent, they were kind of like adapting work from here. When you took up that role, what were the key things that you looked out of, saying, okay, I'm not just looking after South Africa, and how do I make my work resonate into the rest of the continent?
Yeah, look, I mean, that's probably the piece of my job that I'm the most passionate about because it's where I'm
Yeah.
learning the most. And we are in 11 different markets, and it's really interesting because it's not like other regional brands. So most regional brands, you just adapt. So you get the work and you adapt it, right? So even if you look at
Okay.
international brands like Heineken, Budweiser, Corona, most of that stuff is adapting for different markets.
Yes.
Lite doesn't work like that. So we do a lot of work in South Africa, but then the rest of Africa works. So Tanzania, Mozambique, we make sure that the work that we do there resonates with consumers because the differences are actually quite big.
Yeah.
But what I've done now, and I think that will help immensely, is we've repositioned the brand slightly to be more pan-African friendly. So the
Okay.
insight is a lot more universal. It's not focused in like a specific, specific on a specific culture group or country. It's a universal insight, and I think that would make it
Mm.
much easier for the work to translate across the continent.